Hello, and welcome back to Feel Good Alcohol Free. I'm so glad you're here. I'm Lindsay, your host, alcohol free coach, and the woman who's going to help you quit drinking and step into the version of yourself you want to become. Okay, today we are going to be talking about what you gain by quitting. Yep, you heard that right. What you gain by quitting alcohol. It's a long, beautiful list that I can't wait to talk about. I know that the decision to quit drinking can feel like a huge sacrifice, at least maybe right now. But let yourself listen to this with an open mind and see how you feel by the end of it. Right now, you might be thinking about all the things you'll miss out on if you finally ditch alcohol, social events, the fun you have with a drink in hand, the sense of relaxation or escape that it gives you. But what if I told you that what you're gaining by quitting is far greater than what you're giving up? We're so often focused on the loss. We've been conditioned to think that life without alcohol means a life of restriction, deprivation, or maybe even dullness. But that is a story that has just been sold to us, okay? And it's not true. When you take a step back and really look at what you're making space for in your life, what you're going to gain instead, it starts to shift the entire conversation. So rather than making a list of all the things you are going to have to stop doing, let's think about who it is that you'll get to start becoming. It's about the clarity, the freedom, and the connection that becomes available when alcohol is no longer in the picture. In this episode, we're going to unpack that together. What you gain physically, mentally, emotionally, and in your relationships. Because when you start seeing this as a gain rather than a loss, this journey becomes something entirely different. What if you stopped focusing on the sacrifices and started embracing the life that's waiting for you on the other side of alcohol? Let's dig a bit deeper into the misconception of loss. While I think that more often than not, people don't really care if you decide to drink or not. We've all heard someone reply to you with an OMG, you're not drinking anymore. You're giving up your social life, the fun, the relaxation, or whatever their reason is for drinking. And maybe you even believe them. It comes down to this unfortunately popular idea that without alcohol, we're missing out on something crucial. But I want to challenge this perspective today. I like speaking from experience. And you know why? Because the things that we're talking about aren't abstract concepts. They are real. And I've been through them. And so many other women have too. Sharing our own experiences helps normalize new perspectives, and it helps shift our thinking. So instead of simply telling you that you will gain so much from an alcohol-free life, let me share some of the gains I've experienced for myself since quitting. And these are real, accessible gains. So first up is clarity and performance. 2 months before my last drink, I got a new job. I very quickly realized the demands of my role were going to be intense. It was a stress-filled environment, and I needed to be on my A game. I knew there was no way that I'd be able to perform at the level I needed to if I kept drinking. Alcohol was really clouding my ability to think clearly, and I wasn't showing up at my best. Once I quit drinking, I was focusing better, managing my stress more effectively, and actually excelling in ways I hadn't imagined. Number 2, improved relationships. This one really hit me because my husband had told me something I hadn't even realized. He said that spending time with me, whether it was with him or even with my family, felt so much nicer and more relaxing now that I wasn't drinking. I didn't really know if this made me feel better or worse, but I wasn't flying off the handle at little things that would normally irritate me. I was more grounded, and we were able to resolve disagreements quicker because I wasn't getting defensive. Quitting alcohol didn't just benefit me. It helped my relationship with my husband grow. We became so much more connected, and it is something I'm grateful for every single day. Okay, next up. energy and vitality. If you had told me I'd be waking up at 4:30 or 5 a.m. with no alarm, ready to take on the day, I would have laughed at you. But that's exactly what happened when I quit drinking. There's something magical about waking up energized and excited for the day. No hangover, no sluggishness. It's a feeling of clarity, a sense of vitality that I didn't even realize I was missing. If you've known me for any length of time, you already know that my morning is sacred. I have a strong boundary over it. It's planned, intentional, and it is my time. Okay, the next one was embracing my alcohol-free journey. One of the biggest surprises came when I started getting excited about being alcohol-free. At first, it was something I really kept to myself. My husband was the only one who knew that I was really trying to quit for good. But over time, I realized how much it had changed my life. And I couldn't help but share it with others. Seriously, I really couldn't. I remember being excited to tell my friends and family, you won't believe this, but I haven't had a drink in like 6 months and I'm so happy. Or even more so when I would see someone that I hadn't seen in a while, specifically like an old coworker that knew me as a drinker and someone who I'd go out to lunch with in the middle of the workday and have drinks with. It felt empowering and I would feel really proud of myself, showing them how possible and exciting this new chapter was for me. See, quitting alcohol isn't about giving something up. It's about gaining the space to live more fully. When you start focusing on what you stand to gain, it becomes clear that what you're losing was never really serving you in the first place. So here's what you can expect to gain, starting with a new relationship with yourself. Quitting alcohol isn't just about changing your habits. It's about changing your relationship with you. Because alcohol doesn't just numb stress or enhance social settings. It creates distance between you and your truest self. And when you remove it, you start to come home to who you really are, to you. So let's break this down a little bit. First up is this clarity of mind. One of the first things people notice when they stop drinking is that the mental fog starts to lift. You don't realize how much alcohol clouds your thoughts until suddenly you can think clearly again. Ideas flow more easily. You remember things. You feel sharper and more creative. That version of you who used to feel driven, curious, and present, she is still there. She was just buried under a haze, and now she's coming back. Okay, the next thing is emotional resilience. Alcohol doesn't actually help us process emotions. It basically presses pause on them. When we're drinking, we're basically procrastinating managing our emotions, which means they just stay stuck. When you take alcohol out of the equation, all those feelings, grief, anger, stress, boredom, loneliness are still there, but instead of avoiding them, you learn to move through them. You build tools. You become more emotionally agile, and that builds resilience. Not the kind that's performative, but the kind that's steady and real. The kind that helps you navigate life with grounded confidence. Okay, the next is self-trust. This is probably my favorite part, to be honest. Every time you make the choice not to drink, you're making a promise to yourself and you're keeping it. And let me tell you, that's one of the most powerful ways to rebuild trust with yourself. Because so many women I work with have spent years breaking promises to themselves around alcohol. And each time they do, it chips away at their confidence and their self-worth. But when you start stacking days of integrity, when your actions match your intentions, you start to believe in yourself again. You realize, I can do hard things. I can rely on myself. And that kind of trust is what changes everything. This is where the real magic happens. This is where the transformation happens. You're not just ditching a substance. You are reconnecting with your power. Okay, next up, your physical health benefits. Now let's talk about the very real glow up that happens when you stop drinking. Because while the emotional and mental shifts are huge, the physical ones, they're undeniable. And honestly, They're some of the first things that make you go, wait, why didn't I do this sooner? You may or may not have seen my own before and after photos. I'll post them again on my Instagram so you can see for yourself. I still can't believe how much of an impact alcohol was having on my health and my appearance. Okay, the next one, improved sleep. This one is monumental. This one is massive. Alcohol might help you fall asleep faster, but it seriously messes with your sleep cycle. It prevents you from reaching those deep restorative stages of sleep that your body needs to repair and recharge. Most women I work with tell me they feel more tired in the mornings after drinking, even if they were technically asleep for 7 or 8 hours. But once you remove alcohol, your sleep starts to regulate. You're actually resting. You wake up feeling clear instead of groggy. And that one change alone starts to ripple into every part of your day. When was the last time you had a really good night's sleep? Like, seriously, think about that. Which leads me to more energy. When you're not constantly recovering from a substance that dehydrates you, spikes your blood sugar, and messes with your nervous system, guess what happens? You're going to get your energy back. That steady, grounded energy, not the crash and burn kind. You have more stamina, you're less irritable, and you actually want to do things. And yes, that includes working out, cleaning the house, or even having sex, because your body feels alive again. Next, clearer skin. This one actually really kind of took me by surprise. I didn't realize how dull or puffy my skin looked until I saw the before and after photos. Alcohol dehydrates your skin, it increases inflammation, and it speeds up aging. But after a few weeks without it, your skin literally starts to glow. Your eyes look brighter. You're not as puffy. People are going to start telling you, you look so refreshed and you didn't even get a facial. Although, honestly, facials are a fun treat too. And you should absolutely do those to reward yourself for milestones. Okay, better overall health. There's also the less visible, but just as important stuff. Your liver gets a break and starts functioning better. Your immune system strengthens. Your hormones begin to balance. Your digestion improves. And your long-term risk for diseases like cancer, heart disease, and liver issues starts to go down. This isn't just about feeling good today. It's about giving your body the gift of longevity. When you stop drinking, your body finally gets the chance to work for you, not constantly recover from you. See that difference there? You are going to love yourself for this. Now, let's drift over and talk about what you gain in relationships and social settings as a non-drinker. This is where so many women feel the most fear when they're considering to quit drinking. Will I still be fun? Will people think I'm boring? What if I lose friends? And I get it. I had all of these same thoughts too. Alcohol is often the glue in our social lives. But here's what I want you to know. What you gain in your relationships when you stop drinking is so much richer, deeper, and more connected than anything alcohol ever offered. For starters, authentic connection. When you're no longer buzzed or checked out, you're present. You listen better. You laugh harder. You feel more in sync with the people you actually want to be around. And that awkwardness that is always there at first, it's totally normal, but it's going to pass. And when it does, you start to realize how much more meaningful conversations and quality time become when you're not drinking to fill space or avoid discomfort. Okay. On to stronger communication. Without alcohol distorting your perceptions or fueling emotional reactivity, you get better at conflict resolution. You don't jump to defensiveness as quickly. You're more reflective. For me personally, this showed up pretty big in my marriage. I stopped flying off the handle at little things. I could sit in hard conversations without making everything feel personal, and it shifted the dynamic in the best way. Because my husband and I, we're able to resolve things now. They don't escalate, usually by me. He's never raised his voice. So the next one is boundaries and alignment. One of the most unexpected and powerful shifts, you stop tolerating things that no longer align. You become more aware of the relationships that lift you up and the ones that don't. Okay. Not in a dramatic burn it all down way, but in a quiet, confident way that says, I deserve better. You gain clarity on who your real people are, and you find yourself drawn to deeper, more aligned connections, whether that's in friendships, partnerships, even family dynamics. Next is confidence in social settings. And yes, eventually you do feel confident walking into a party or dinner without a drink. You learn how to enjoy yourself sober. You realize the vibe doesn't come from the wine. It comes from you. In fact, you become the one people are drawn to because you're grounded, present, and fully yourself. You stop needing alcohol to be on, and you start trusting that you are enough as you are. This isn't just about improving your relationships. It's about creating relationships that are actually real, ones where you feel safe, seen, and respected. And that is so much more fulfilling than anything that you've left behind. So here's something that might surprise you. When you quit drinking, the freedom you feel doesn't come from having more rules or more restrictions. It comes from finally being in alignment with yourself. You no longer waste energy second guessing your choices or managing the aftermath of drinking or battling with any shame or guilt. Without alcohol clouding your interactions, your relationships become deeper and more authentic. You are more present, more patient. You're more you. One of my clients said this really well. She said, I used to think alcohol was what made me fun and social. I'm seeing now that it was actually getting in the way of real connection. Since quitting, my relationships feel more honest, and I'm finally showing up as the version of me I used to only get glimpses of. The freedom I feel now, I didn't even know I was missing. Okay, that's powerful. And let's not forget joy. The kind of joy that's grounded, not performative. You laugh more, feel more, live more, and all of it is real. You're not chasing a buzz, you're creating your own. That's the kind of joy that sticks. That's what my client was talking about. Next, personal growth and empowerment. Here's something that I don't think we really talk about enough. Quitting drinking isn't just about not drinking. It's about reclaiming your full potential. For so long, alcohol acted like this little dimmer switch on my life. Things still worked. I still showed up. But there was this underlying dullness. Like I was living in black and white when I was meant for full-blown color. When I removed alcohol, I started to remember who I was before I needed something to take the edge off. I reconnected with passions and goals, ones that I had long put on the shelf. I started dreaming bigger, not because everything suddenly got easier, but because I believed in myself more and I was proud of the way that I was living. The confidence that comes from facing life head on without numbing or buffering is unlike anything else. You begin to trust your own strength. You realize you don't need alcohol to handle life. You're capable of so much more than you have given yourself credit for. And from that place, your decisions start to shift. You stop choosing from fear or fatigue and start choosing from your highest self. You stop asking, what will help me get through this? And you start asking, what will help me grow through this? Okay, the next thing, this was very important to me, almost to where I didn't even realize like how much it was costing. Financial freedom. So let's be honest, drinking is expensive. Not just the actual alcohol, which definitely adds up fast, but everything around it. And don't act like you don't know what I mean. The takeout order because you poured a glass of wine and now cooking sounds like the worst idea ever. The online shopping spree that arrives in a flurry of packages you barely remember ordering. The restaurant bill that's somehow $30 or $40 higher because of just a couple glasses of wine. The Ubers because you're not driving. The next day lattes because you're dragging. The random subscription you signed up for at 11 p.m. because it sounded fun. It's sneaky and it really adds up. I remember one morning I woke up, walked to my front door, and I am not kidding you, there was a pizza on the doorstep. I didn't even remember ordering it. But apparently, I had big plans for that late night snack. When I quit drinking, one of the best things I did was I opened a special savings account. I called it my reward account. I think I actually called it like my get your life together account. Every Friday night, I'd make myself a delicious alcohol-free drink. I would curl up on the couch and I would manually transfer $150 into that account. Money I would have spent drinking. This became a ritual. I was proud of those transfers. I was so proud of myself. And over time, that little account grew into tens of thousands of dollars. That account became proof of all the nights I showed up for myself, proof that I could actually change, that I could take back control and have something to show for it. So yes, quitting alcohol saves you a crap load of money. But more than that, it gives you back your power, your intentionality, your ability to invest in things that actually matter to you. Okay, we're going to shift now into the future vision, the life you didn't even know was possible. This is what I wish more people could see. What's waiting for them on the other side of this choice? Because yes, quitting alcohol is hard. It stretches you. It asks you to feel more deeply and to be honest with yourself like you never have before. But it also unlocks something extraordinary. You are going to get mornings that feel fresh and exciting. You get clarity in your relationships. You get a deep connection with yourself that's rooted in truth, not escape. You start creating your life, not just surviving in it. And most importantly, you begin to dream and think bigger again. You let yourself want more, whether it's a new relationship, a career change, starting a business, or simply feeling at peace in your own skin. Alcohol doesn't just dull your pain. It dulls all of your potential. And when you remove it, the life you didn't even know was possible suddenly comes into view. This decision isn't about what you're losing. It's about choosing a future that's finally aligned with who you really are. Okay, your next step is starting right now. If you're listening to this and thinking, okay, maybe, just maybe, quitting alcohol isn't just about what I'm giving up. Maybe there's actually something incredible waiting for me on the other side. You're exactly right. I'm going to give you 2 simple action steps that you can take today. Okay, start tracking what you're gaining, not just what you're avoiding. Create a note in your phone or journal and jot down every win, no matter how small. Did you sleep better? Did you wake up clearer? Did you have a deeper conversation with someone? These little shifts build your momentum and they're going to build your belief that you can get there and that there really is more on the other side of alcohol. The next, get curious about your future self. Ask yourself, who am I becoming by doing this work? What would it feel like to live with more clarity, energy, and alignment? Because that version of you, she is closer than you think. And if you're ready for support, if you don't want to figure this out alone, head over to my website. You can download my free guide. It's packed with powerful tools to help you get unstuck. And if you're ready to go deeper, book a free discovery call with me. Let's talk about where you're at, what you want, and how I can help you build a life that feels really good without alcohol. The link is in the show notes. I believe in you, and I promise you are gaining more than you are losing. That's it for me this week. If you are loving this podcast, please go ahead and rate it for me. It helps other women also find it if they need support. And I really am so grateful that you listened. I hope you have a great week, and I will see you next time.